Our revolutionary Gen Zs mobilized, organized, and opposed the Finance Bill 2024. They mobilized, they protested, they took over parliament, and they stopped Ruto in his tracks. Ruto was in the process of implementing the most punitive IMF-imposed conditions of taxation without representation, of taxation without benefit, of taxation without rights, of being turned slaves in your own country. And after that happened, and Ruto was just about to be removed from his legitimate perch at the State House, Raila Odinga went behind the Gen Z's backs and did a deal, an evil contract, an arrangement with the abductor and the chief mass murderer in East Africa, the most corrupt man in Africa, the second most corrupt man in the entire world, William Kipchirchir Ruto, stood in front of the entire world at the KICC and announced that he was going to support Ruto. He didn't care that Ruto had murdered hundreds of Gen Zs after the protest, during the protest, and in days after that has perpetrated a systematic abduction of young people, disappeared them, tortured them, and continues to kill many of them. Raila didn't care about that. Raila didn't care about the real grievance that led to the Gen Z revolution. The fact that the Gen Zs, more than 65% of them, highly qualified, young with a lot of energy and vision, are unemployed. And there are no reasonable prospects that they will get employment this year, next year, the year after, 10 years from now. That is not in the plan of these power barons, the bandits in Nairobi. And the Gen Zs could see that and said, look, we own the country. Kenya does not belong to William Ruto. Kenya belongs to 56, 60 million Kenyans, 65% of whom are Gen Zs or younger. These are the owners of the country. These are the people that the future belongs to, not the renegades, not the old people that have looted and are going to die in a few years anyway. But no, Raila did not stand with the Gen Zs. Raila did not stand with the future. Raila stood with his stomach. Raila stood with his greed. Raila stood with his conmanship and arrogance and said he was going to join Ruto in cracking down on the critics of the government. That's point number 3. Having betrayed the Gen Zs in the face of a vicious crackdown, having betrayed the Gen Zs who had shed blood while campaigning for their rights, having betrayed the Gen Zs that were just about to lead an overhaul, a complete transformation of the Kenyan rotten political system, having betrayed the Gen Zs that were leading the revolution, Raila Odinga could not be elected in Addis Ababa, because that would be a bad betrayal for the entire Gen Zs in the African continent, which is probably 70% of the population of the African continent, billions of people. The African Union is supposed to be the body that symbolizes that epitomizes the unity, even if it is rhetorical unity of the African continent, of the African people. And that unity is supposed to be unity of purpose. It's supposed to be unity of a vision for a freer, a more prosperous, a liberated African continent. It's supposed to be a unity of values or in values. Values of freedom, values of liberation, values of prosperity, values of love, values of everything good. It cannot be values of theft, values of looting, values of plutocracy, values of tyranny, values of barbarism, values of retrogression, values of primitivity, values of torture, values of abduction, which is what Ruto symbolizes in Africa today. Ruto is an existential threat to all the positive values that Pan-Africanists stand for. Raila Odinga is Ruto's chief facilitator in Kenya, in the African region. If you want to understand how Raila Odinga is so corrupt and a conman, look at even the way that he relates to the regional leaders of Africa. Take the DRC. Raila Odinga was supposed to be the greatest friend for Felix Tshisekedi, who is the president of DRC Congo. He wanted, and he was actually doing smuggling of Congo's minerals, gold, diamonds. Raila Odinga is a multi-billionaire, okay, in dollar terms, because of corruption, because of smuggling, because of money laundering, because of plutocracy that he has been engaging in. So he's a friend of Tshisekedi. Tshisekedi has visited him, even at home in Karen. But in the recent past, Raila Odinga has been supporting Kagame, who is being backed by the Western imperialists to destabilize Congo so that they can continue to loot Congo's minerals. So you can see that he doesn't care about friendship. He doesn't care about the fact that the Congolese have been suffering for the last 60 years. He doesn't care that the West don't really give a damn about Africa. Trump doesn't give a damn about Africa. And all the Western leaders don't give a damn about Africa. They care about how much they can extract from the African continent. So in other words, Raila Odinga represents the worst of the worst in the entire world, the scum of the earth. So what does this defeat mean? And why am I happy about his defeat? Raila Odinga's defeat means money cannot buy you everything. That's number one. Okay? And we must underline this. Okay? Real power does not come from money. The first thing is this: the brain. Essentially, I've been able to defeat Raila Odinga, and I don't have the billions. I don't have the platforms they have. I don't have the power they have. But I have this, which they cannot take away from me. I've been posting, I've been lobbying, I've been deconstructing, I've been exposing Raila Odinga 24/7. I've written to all the presidents of Africa. You still have 20 states that supported Raila Odinga. It doesn't matter. In the end, who surrendered? Who was defeated at the AUC? It was Raila Odinga. It was not Mohamed Yusuf. It was Raila Odinga. But who was bamboozling us all over with private jets that cost 8 million per hour? It was Raila Odinga. Who took 300 plus, lunatics to go and dance in Addis Ababa and play music, Lingala, and go into 5-star hotels, and try to impress the world with their ridiculousness. It was Raila Odinga and William Ruto. Where did that take them? To the dustbin of history. Okay? Just like it did to Uhuru Kenyatta when Uhuru Kenyatta tried to sell Amina Mohammed. So whether Uhuru Kenyatta, whether it is Ruto, whether it is whoever, impunity will not prevail.